Well, they say that you're a fool. You believe in magic.
I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me?
Some hocus pocus filling up inside. And I think somebody's making
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Pete Show. It is January 17th, and hopefully everybody enjoyed and remembered and honored the holiday yesterday for Martin Luther King Jr. But welcome to this week. Last week I said it was episode 90, and I was wrong. It was episode 89. So tonight's episode with special guest Mackenna Long is episode 90. Just to clear that up, I got my numbers mixed up, getting too many of them here. But welcome to the show. We're on WLTK-DB.com, and we've got a couple people checking in already. Hello, Nicola. Thanks for watching. And a good friend of the show, Michael White. Hey, Brother Pete. Hey, Michael. Thanks for watching. Got Linda, good friend of the show here. Hey, Pete and Mackenna. Hi, Linda. And we'll get Mackenna up here shortly, but hopefully you're checking out all the shows on the station at WLTK-DB.com. It's right behind me. If you're watching, you can catch us on all the socials, wherever you like to watch videos. You can find us under WLTK-DB, and also for audio as well. I've been updating my Podbean account with lots of new episodes on there. So just go to Podbean and look at my show. You'll find it there. And also the station with all the other shows. There's tons of content, you guys. There's 25 shows on the station. And so there's tons of great content all week long to get us through the week, right? I know I have a hard time making it to Friday sometimes. And so hopefully you'll check it out or download the station app. I use it. It's handy. You can listen to live shows like this one and get all the archived audio as well. So there's a lot you can do with the station app. Another friend of the show, Mary Phipps. Hey, Mary. Thanks for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed last week with my good friend James Honeycutt. And we played some music, and he's just got such a cool perspective on life that he's learned to do and learned to use. And so if you want to catch up on that one, just go to the archived audio on the website or my Podbean. Big shout out to station owner, the man on the ones and twos, Todd Bates, host of Haunted Voices. Thanks for running everything there in the background. If you like the intro music, here's my shameless plugs. That's my band, Steady Rock Cosmonaut. It's a song called Magic. You can check us out anywhere you listen to music by looking up Steady Rock Cosmonaut. Hopefully you'll check it out and enjoy. More importantly, enjoy it. I got another person, Robert. Hey, Pete. Hey, good day to you as well. Thanks for watching, you guys. I've got some fun guests coming up next week. I've got Oregon Ghost Conference Director Rocky Smith coming on the show, and I can't wait to hear what he has to share about the Oregon Ghost Conference coming up March 24th through the 26th. And that's down in Seaside, Oregon. So if you're looking for a fun conference to go to, that's coming up real soon. Looking forward to that. OregonGhostConference.com. So I'll have the Rocky on the show, Rocky Smith, and then then I'm off the following week And I'm coming back in February with special guest psychic medium Jackie Campbell, whom I met at the Orange County Paracon this last year, and had a lot of fun talking to her. So it's going to be a fun show, and then I'll be announcing more guests as we get a little closer. Mentioned the Oregon Ghost Conference. I'm excited to be speaking there, and I'll have a vendor table all weekend. So if you're going, stop by and say hi. I'll be doing readings there this year, and so I'm really excited for that. It's always a fun place to do readings. And then upcoming is the OC Paracon, Orange County Paracon. That's going to be in the first weekend in October down in Anaheim. So keep supporting conferences out there. We got the Port Gamble one coming up in Veterans Day weekend this year in November. So I'll be updating the website at portgamble.com with information as I book it. So stay tuned there. And of course, I've always got ghost walks and special investigations coming up. Had a ghost walk on Saturday night. Great group of people. It was a lot of fun. And it was kind of a dark and almost stormy night, so it was fun to get out and walk around. And I'll take almost stormy after the weather going on lately up here in Washington. But I've got a special investigation coming up this Saturday. I've only got a few spots left. And I think I've got 4 spots left. And that's 3 hours at the Walker Ames house here in Port Gamble. And we basically go through the house and work with some of the meters and talk about investigation strategy, and have an investigation for 3 hours. So you can get all that at portgambleparanormal.com. You can see all the upcoming dates. So now that all my plugs are done for now, we've got a very special guest tonight, someone I met through the Port Gamble Ghost Conference a long time ago. I've since investigated with her and have done numerous gallery readings with her. But our guest tonight is Mackenna Long, and she's an intuitive medium and hypnotherapist. Mackenna specializes in past life regression. It is her goal in her sessions to create healing and a sense of peace through finding and eliminating negative self-beliefs from this life or past lives, and bridging the space between here and the other side. She's a lifelong Pacific Coast native who enjoys travel and spending time with loved ones. And we're going to talk about travel tonight, but let's give a big show welcome to Mackenna Long. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show. And it's been long overdue. But it's good to get you on. And episode 90. Oh,
that's a lot. Congratulations.
Thanks. I don't know how I'm still standing, but I always say on the show that I didn't think I'd make it past 10 when I started doing, but then I guess time flies. But that's how it goes. Michael White saying hello. Hey, Mackenna.
I see Michael and Linda. Hi, guys.
Thanks, everybody. And if you have questions tonight, put them in the comment section wherever you're watching us from. Just type in a comment. We'll see it. And do our best to answer it, of course. So yeah, join the conversation. It's always fun when you guys out there listening and watching get involved in the conversation. So tell us a little bit about what you got coming up. I know you've got a couple things coming up. What do you got coming?
I'm actually doing a gallery reading at the Underbar in Vancouver on February 4th. It's a fundraiser for Jason Hassler. A couple of his dear friends are going through some medical challenges. So I'm donating a reading and the gallery, and then also a mentor session for the raffle.
Oh, that's cool. What a great way to raise money and, doing what we do for something good. And that's awesome. So Underbar. I never heard of that. Sounds cool.
It's down in Vancouver, off of Broadway or on Broadway. I've never been there, but Jeff Davis speaks there.
Okay.
So it'll be my first time there. So I'm excited. But I'm like you, I'm up here. So I'm looking for a place to stay. Don't have a clue where to go. So
there's lots of places to stay down there.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. So let me ask you this. Oh, Kristen. Hey, Kristen. Thanks for coming. Says it's a cool little bar. Right
Yeah,
on.
I'm sure she's been there. I think she's been there.
Okay. Yeah, right on. Well, it sounds like fun. So, so let me ask you, what are you doing when you get there? Like when you first go in the place, you're doing this gallery reading.
Mhm.
You've never been there before. Don't know much about it. What's going through your mind? What are you doing when you first go in there?
I think when I first go in, it kind of scope out the place and decide, if it's haunted, then I need to kind of push those people off to the side and hold a space for I've had people come who belong to somebody who's going to be in the audience up to 2 days in advance
Wow.
and hanging out with me. They're in my car and I'm like, oh, hi, I guess you belong to somebody. I'll figure out who that is. And so I try to hold the space of, okay, and open well, you know how it is when you've got like 3 people coming through and they're all very similar and you've got people claiming it, and then you've kind of like, okay, but one person's like this and one's like this, and it's just getting, and I kind of want them to line up and say, okay,
Yeah.
I know you all want to come through and I know we got tons of messages, and I'm going to let it go for a while so a lot of people can get a message.
Right.
At least the majority, because I'm not sure how many people are coming so far. I think we got 33, which could,
Cool.
yeah, it can always get bigger. And then just hold the space and just get ready. And I always take notes ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like you and I do, is we'll take notes, and I might have a special co-reader with me.
Oh,
I've asked her to be a part of this, and I think she's absolutely ready and amazing. But it'll be her first time, so
are you
she's a
allowed
little.
to share? Are you allowed to share? I don't know.
Did you see the movie A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot? New
I
movie.
haven't
It's
watched it
amazing.
yet. Okay.
Jill, the one who her and her husband made that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Very cool.
she's wonderful. I've been kind of helping and mentoring her on her journey, and I said, "Girl, I think it's time for you to come on out and work with me." So,
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, that sounds like fun. I mean, it's kind of fun doing gallery readings with other readers, but I wanted to go back and mention when you're talking about putting everybody in a line,
mhm.
you know, the residents of that space. I always
Mhm.
think of Beetlejuice in the waiting room where they're taking a number.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
guy with the shrunken head, and
Yeah, taking a number,
yeah.
get in line. And so yeah, you kind of have to do that. But it is fun to read with somebody
Mhm.
else, because you pick up on different things,
Mhm.
and it's almost like there's all these puzzle pieces everywhere. And so, one person picks up a few, you pick up a few. It's kind of
Mhm.
cool that I like that dynamic's fun. It's great doing a gallery reading solo as well. I'm not
Mhm.
knocking that at all, but it's fun to have a co-reader. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
Nicola's asking a question. Sorry, I'm new, but our message is given on this live. Well, I think that's always a possibility. So yeah, if you have a question, you can ask it, and we'll do our best to get an answer for you. But okay, so you're doing this gallery reading. You've checked it out. What's your favorite thing, uh, aspect about a gallery reading?
I love the energy of the crowd. There's so many emotions you've got, and it's for me to kind of block myself from their emotions, so I'm not picking up on the sadness and the happy and anxiety, and just strictly connecting to the ones who have crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the energy and the hope and the closure. Sometimes you'll say something that they just needed to hear and it's been a long time. I had one of my good dear friends had seen a therapist, and she went through all this grief and from when she was a young child, and we had a 2-hour reading, and she said, I have never felt so at peace with this because of the messages that came through and the
Mm-hmm.
validation and things, because she was only, I believe, 13 when her brother died. So he was only 2.5, and it was a very intense reading because she's one of my dearest friends, but it gave her a lot of closure. So when I can see that there's some healing and there's some answers or just a connection, that's what gives my heart hope. It tells me this is why I do this. This is why I'm grateful for this. And I always say, I'm not claiming this. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the funnel. It comes through not me, not from me. So please don't ask me if I remember this, because I probably won't.
Right.
You know what that is? I'll be like, unless it's really specific, it's hard to remember all the messages.
Yeah, we get amnesia often here.
Yeah.
There's a couple questions, and in the meantime, Nicola's saying, anyone coming through then, please, sorry to ask so much. I'm just very much missing my mom. Thank you.
Oh,
So I'll leave that. I'll bring that back up here when we get to these questions here. And thanks for sending that, Nicola. Michael White, is there an advantage to holding a gallery reading in a location that you're not familiar with? Great question. Do you
that
want
is
to
a
go
great
first?
question. I think so, because sometimes when you get to a place and you've been there many times, it's almost like you get the nuances of the place. And you know what I mean by that? But when you're in a new place, I think this energy shift and the new spirits, maybe the spirits there are going to help bring in loved ones. So, and then it gives us a chance to get that excited of a new place. I love new places. I travel a lot. So going to a new place is always fun for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just going somewhere new that you haven't been before is it's fun, if you like to do that sort of thing. But yeah, I agree. I think it is an advantage going somewhere where you don't know. I feel like you'd be less biased in a sense of, if it's like the same place that you've been, like, if I were to do gallery readings in the Walker Ames house all the time, well, I would get biased over time, from experiences. And so going somewhere new, it's kind of like everyone's in the fog and it's, and then I think things come in a little bit clearer in places that you're not so familiar with. I don't know why that is, but to answer Michael's question, I agree with you that I agree it is an advantage.
Well, I think it's also good because we're up here, and I know I have clients in Texas and other states, and if I could go there, I could get a crowd down there where they have to do Zoom with me right now because I'm not close. So it's an advantage of being able to get a new group of people to come in and have an opportunity to get an in-person reading.
In person, yeah. Is a difference. There is a little bit of a difference, Christine Mulaney, thanks for watching and thanks for asking. Gallery and in-person compared to online reading, do you find any huge blocks with energy? And this kind of speaks what you were just getting into. In person or online, do you find any huge blocks with energy with the online?
I think the gallery, if you have 10 people, you may have 50 ghosts there, 50 spirits. And so it's like trying to decide who belongs to who, where if you have a one-on-one or just a couple of people, then it's much more manageable. I'm not saying it's worse or better. I just think it's just different how you handle the situation.
Yeah, exactly. I think in person, if you get a lot of empath and you're feeling things in person, you may feel those emotions stronger, and heavier rather than online. But I think if you're just focused, you can do it anywhere, and that there's really no blocks of energy because you're able to go around the energy, I guess, or you're able to get through. So it doesn't really, online or in person. I think it just depends on you
And
and
we
you're
plug in.
focused.
I don't know about you, Pete, but I plug in. So I don't care if you're on Zoom, you're on the phone, or email reading. I'm plugging into you, and then what's around you. So in person is fine, but I can probably, like you can just do it anywhere.
Yeah, I think if you're just focused and present, if you can be totally like if sitting on a Zoom call, if you can be just very present, then yeah, it doesn't matter where you are.
Mhm.
Well, let me ask you this. So it's a question I've been asked by my wife and others as well. But so, in your experience with mediumship and communicating with the other side, where are they? That's kind of a deep question,
Oh,
but
never been asked that.
where are they in your experience? Is that,
Wow.
is that a stumper? Sorry.
That is, sometimes they're right in front of me.
Okay.
Sometimes they send me pictures. Sometimes they're giving me thoughts where I hear a voice, but it's not mine, but it is. Um, so that's a really good question. I would say if I see him, I like literally look in front of me, kind of up, just raised a bit, just elevated. But I don't see him sometimes. It's all the clairs you're using. Um, I was at a place this weekend with Linda, and we heard a lot of audibles, a lot of external voices at this place,
Nice.
more than usual. And I stopped dead in my tracks. I'm like, and she's like, "You heard that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard that." So it was fun when you can actually hear it outside of your head. So it's not your psychic voice, it's outside of your head.
When you can maybe tell better that it's not in your head.
Right, or somebody else gets it too. It's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'm not crazy, I promise." Because it's like you always say that, "I'm not crazy, I promise. I'm hearing this."
Yeah. Where do you know? I'm sure you guys had audio going. Was any of it captured on audio? Do you know?
We didn't have audio. We were just staying there for a couple
Oh,
nights
okay. Not
and
investigating, just hanging
not
out.
investigating. We were
Gotcha.
enjoying our space with our dear friend, and which is very active. And we got to have some fun time and hearing stuff in our room, hearing stuff in areas of the place, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
Nice. Well, that's good stuff there.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk about some more experiences. You recently went to Hawaii and you said you
yeah.
had a pretty awesome experience there. So tell us a little bit about what happened to you.
I am a big history nerd. I love history. I research it, I study it. So I like to go to very historical places. So I went to Hawaii, the Big Island, and for $72 round trip, I could island hop to Honolulu and went to Pearl Harbor. And when we were going on the boat to Pearl Harbor, it was very quiet. But all of a sudden, it's like I was in one of the Japanese pilots' heads.
Oh,
So I was feeling, and I was looking at a picture of a woman and two children. And I was feeling his emotions like, I know what I have to do. I don't want to do this, but I have to do it for honor. And it was those moments that he was going through right before he did it. So that was pretty intense.
yeah. And so the picture you're seeing is like it's almost like it's in the cockpit, right? Where
Yeah.
the guys will stick a picture in there and
And it
um
was black and white, and it was a beautiful woman and two children. And it was in how do you not get emotional? I went to Dachau concentration camp. Same thing. The stuff as I was experienced was like I was in that person's body, in different areas. So but it was the most recent one, and I was like, I'm on vacation. Don't want to see this. Just
get
want
in
to get.
line, Beetlejuice.
I know, right? I just want to experience, Pearl Harbor. And it was interesting because I've heard, for me, Pearl Harbor was completely clear. I didn't sense any leftover people there, a spirit.
Interesting.
It felt
Yeah.
very, very quiet.
Yeah. Interesting. And for those keeping track, I've said his name twice tonight, and I will not say it a third time.
No,
I hope
they're
not.
making one, aren't they? They're making a second one.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you had this experience, like time is a weird thing.
Hmm.
And like how long do you think that experience lasted, and did it feel longer than it was or shorter than it was? How long do you think that hung on with you?
I would say just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's a long time.
it was long enough where I could really be processing his thoughts,
Right.
those emotions, those feelings, and just that anxiety of, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But there was no choice. You
Yeah.
did what you were told. He knew he was going to die, and he was
Yeah.
looking at the picture, and it must have been, well, maybe like a minute.
Wow. But still, I
So
mean, that's a good amount of time to,
yeah.
be feeling something like that. And so it sounds like you do channeling, and it just boom, it hits you.
Yeah, sometimes it's
Out of
not
nowhere.
always opportune. I was actually at Neuschwanstein Castle, and I had an experience with Ludwig, and same thing, but he merged into me, and I was like, I'm going, and he was showing me all this stuff, and I remember I had tears pouring down because he's telling me all about, they're selling cheap trinkets in his home, and all of this stuff, and it was very, very intense. And he was telling me my family killed me, and I didn't commit suicide, so it was very intense. And then he left, but my kids were looking at me, and they said my pupils got like pinpoint, like really tiny, and I knew I was there, and I've never opened myself up before, but it was just like fruit. And I knew he wasn't going to stay with me. You know how people like us, we bring things home. I knew he was going to stay. That was his castle. He's loved it, and I don't think he's ever going to leave it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good about not bringing things home.
I'm
Or
better, but when you have open children too,
yeah, I can make it hard. Yeah,
oh yeah.
I could see
Kaylee's like,
that.
Mom, I saw another man in the house. I'm like, oh my gosh, gotta clear
You're
the
like
house again.
you're like facts of life over there.
Right? Like, come on,
Come
it's a
come
revolving
stay.
door.
Yeah, I mean, do you I mean, how do you feel about stuff coming home with you? I mean, does it bother you, or are you have you just gotten okay with it? How do you feel about that?
I try not to go to places where they congregate, like hospitals and things like that. But
Mhm.
I could be at the mall and pick something up, or God knows where I could pick anything up. So I, uh, I guess you just get used to it, and then all of a sudden it starts making noise in your bedroom, and it's like, oh, okay, this isn't okay. I don't need a peeping tom in my bedroom. No
Right.
voyeurs.
Yeah. Then you're like setting ground rules and like,
Then the Palo Santo comes out. Okay, gonna get rid of this. You gotta go, right?
got
I
mine
am
right
not a
there.
sage fan. I love my Palo Santo and
I
Florida water.
I
Florida water.
like I like the Palo Santo as well. I don't know. I like the smell,
Oh,
and
me too. It's better,
yeah,
way better.
yeah, and it feels different. Um,
It feels feminine to me, like a little bit stronger. What's your thoughts on this? I'm going to ask you a question.
okay.
I've been told that we sage so much, it's almost become like an antibiotic. Like antibiotics, they become weak over time
Hmm.
because so many people use them. What's your thoughts on that? Like, it's sage all the time. Do you think at some point it kind of loses its potency?
I think yeah. That's anything you overdo. I think is going to have a change. Um, I don't do any saging. I might tick some people off, and we got a new person here from New Zealand. Hi, Maya. Thanks for
Hi.
watching. But I don't know if you feel you need to sage for your own peace of mind. That's one thing, but I don't. I've never saged anywhere just because I don't feel like it's my place.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Palo Santo because it promotes good energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that also promotes good from things that aren't so good. It promotes the
Mm-hmm.
good out of, to come up with them. So saging to me is like putting a sock in someone's mouth, in some ways. And so I don't do it. I don't do house clearings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a part of my work, that I know how to do really. But two, I don't know that it's my place,
Right.
to do that. I don't think that's what I'm meant for. So I've always like shied away from that and like house cleans and stuff. But I think absolutely if you overdo anything, it'd be interesting to know how you'd be able to tell and get data on. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many people with audio recorders and so much audio. Is that going to change?
Right.
Is that going to dilute? That
Right.
might be a good Michael White question if he's still listening.
Yeah.
Um, that might be a good one there. And hey, Ward, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Got a lot of new people watching tonight. This is awesome. Thanks, guys. And so Linda's commenting saying that I think that intent is important when you use sage
Absolutely.
or Palo Santo. Great point.
Absolutely.
And that
I also try to
that
go through like spirit counseling first. They're like, why are you here? Do you even, sometimes they don't even know they've crossed.
right.
It's like, do
That
you know you're not here anymore?
yeah.
You have
And
family waiting for you.
yeah. And I certainly, like, if there was someone who like was wanting to leave and needed help, I would not be like, well, I ain't gonna help you. I don't do that.
Sorry.
Well, let's see. Michael's laughing. I don't know if that was a good question, but so Ward's asking if he can ask something about astral traveling, and Ward, absolutely, but we're going to take a quick station break here. We're on WLTK-DB.com. I'm your host, Peter Bay, on the Paranormal Pete Show. We've got very special guest Mackenna along on tonight, and we'll be right back here. Sit tight, and we'll see you on the flip side.
If you have a set of dowsing rods or a pendulum lying around, then learn how to use them. WLTK-DB Talk Radio is hosting a divination and clearing class Saturday, February 11th, 2023. This is an online event and seats are limited. Registration deadline is February 5th. In divination and clearing, you will work with certified psychic mediums Ellie Weisensell and Stephanie Lynn to learn and deepen divination techniques using dowsing rods and pendulums. They will also work to help teach you to use divination practices to clear and release negative energies. To register, contact the station or register online on Eventbrite. Tickets are a staggering value at only $125 each. Register now and join the class online Saturday, February 11th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Divination and Clearing class. Tickets on sale now.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Peter Bay, with special guest Mackenna along on tonight. We're on WLTK-DB.com, and thanks for sticking around. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I tell Nicola to private message one of us? I'd like to talk to her.
Yeah, I was going to say if she's still hanging around. She said she's in England and has to go soon. But yeah, I was writing some stuff down while we were talking for her.
Okay.
But I would just say that with Nicola, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, or Nicola.
Nicola, I'm not sure.
Sorry. So I got Franco was like the first thing I was getting, like the name Franco, or something like that. And then when she said her mom, then I tried to reach out, as ladies. So I feel like there was a recent or an upcoming birthday or like an anniversary of passing or something that's coming up or recently just happened. And I kind of started to see somebody, and like light reddish brownish hair, that, was curly but kind of bushy, something to do with a yellow bird or a canary. Maybe she had an affinity to them, or it's the color. And then also the card suit of diamonds. I was seeing that particular shape of diamond in red.
She said,
So
"Hi, I'm still here."
okay, cool. So I don't know if that's the right person, the reddish to brownish hair, kind of bushy. Maybe there was a recent, anniversary of passing or important birthday or something. And then a yellow bird and red diamonds is kind of what I got so far.
Saying bye to Michael.
Bye, Michael.
It's time to go to
Get in
bed.
bed, mister.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, cool. And
Here's
Maya, yes, you can ask a question. Just a second. We got a question from Ward coming
Award.
too.
Yeah.
Yep. And Jada, thanks for watching. Hello from
Bye,
Louisiana.
Jada.
Right on. Okay, so Nicola, the hair is correct in the anniversary. I don't know what the meaning of the yellow bird is. I don't know if it was a tattoo or it was on a painting. Some piece of artwork is kind of how I see it. And then the suit of diamonds. So I'm not sure what that means either. Or maybe you have a red necklace of hers or something with red jewels.
Oh, interesting.
She's no, but many tell me about a bird. Okay. Let's see here. Something about letting go of an object. I don't know what it is. That you need to let go of an object. And I'm gonna keep trying to think about this and get some other questions going. Since McKenna's
got
here,
Ward.
we can team up.
I'm looking at Ward right now. It says I have this astral travel happen to me randomly.
Yeah.
Every time.
She had Nicola said she has lots of bird things in her house. Okay, if there's a specific one with a yellow bird that stands out, maybe she wants you to have that, or it needs to be like brought out from the closet and put up so it's not collecting dust. But something with a yellow bird, that's what I'm seeing. But I think the message is letting go, and maybe
I feel a lot of grief in Nicola too. A ton of grief in her chest.
there's something in a shoebox. Maybe I'll find it. Yeah, hopefully you will. I feel like there's a shoebox in there that you've got, and there's something in there that you're having a hard time letting go, but it doesn't have to do with your mom. It's with something else, and she wants you to let it go. So if that makes sense, I hope it does. Whatever that is, she wants you to let it go. Maybe it's like a little necklace with like a charm on it, I think, that you've been holding on to. It doesn't really have to do with her necessarily, but a time in your life, things like that, and to try and let that go. And I hope that makes sense. Let's get to some of the other questions, and thank you for allowing us to do that. Okay.
Ward was asking about astral travel.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask, I feel like he's new in the process. So he's opening up pretty quick. And all of a sudden, he's experiencing things that you and I go through all the time. And it can be a little disconcerting. I astral travel at night, in the day, all the time. Part of
Yeah.
that's doing our work. So my question to you is it scary, or cannot talk to somebody about this? You can always Facebook friend me or Pete, you probably me, and ask me questions, and I can answer whatever you need to be able to talk to somebody. I'm wondering, where do you live? Because I have a friend, Jada, who's actually on, and she's starting her whole spiritual process, and it's difficult because the area she's in, they're not very open. So
Mhm.
she feels very alone. And I know when you're and Pete and I are lucky, we live in an area that's very open to the woo woo. So when you're in an area and you're alone, and I was scared the first time. Okay, good. Okay. Now, trust the place. I wonder if that's a place where you're meeting with your guide, if you're getting information. You're from Belgium? Oh, I love Europe. I want to go back.
Well,
We got
welcome all the way in from Belgium, man. Right
right.
on.
Yeah, there's I kind of feel like it's a place, a meeting place for you and your guide, a place of where you're learning things. And it's kind of your safe place where you can experience your growth in a place that's nurturing and loving and accepting, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And the best thing to do is to try and find people who do that kind of work and talk to them, because I know he was, nobody around him he could talk to. And
Mhm.
if just, Google search, look at reviews. Is there anyone that knows somebody, that'd be interesting. And he's adding on here, as with beings, but the thing is, they do not allow me to see, only hear, smell, and feel. They want to heal me. So maybe that tells me, like, you need to, like, spend some good time being present in the
Mhm.
moment and sitting there with your thoughts. Like, don't try and push all your thoughts out, but just, like,
Mhm.
take a few minutes each day to try and, like, just be present, just be there in the moment. Close your eyes, visualize stepping out of your body. You're looking at yourself. What are you wearing? What are you sitting on?
Mhm.
All the details. And it sounds to me like you're blocking something with your vision. And he's saying they show me a blue
See.
sea and want to change the color. That don't push too hard.
Mhm.
Just kind of go with it for a while if you can. Um, Jada's saying she can relate to all that. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Go with the flow. Don't force this. Just kind of try and learn a little bit each time. But if you can spend a little bit of conscious time where you're looking within, where you step out of yourself and look at yourself, you look at your body, like try and go in, and maybe there you'll find something from your past, or maybe it's something that's happened to you currently that's kind of blocking your vision. You're not seeing clearly. You're not seeing things clearly is kind of what it means to me. And so look inside, see if you can find that, but just take little steps, man. Just don't take big leaps and bounds. Try and learn a little bit each time. And I
Maybe
think,
recognize your gift, what it is, how you
yeah,
see things, because some
right.
people hear, some people see, some people feel. There's all these different clairs. Maybe you haven't quite honed in on what your clairs. I am a huge advocate for writing. I am a big advocate for connecting and writing, almost like automatic writing. I'll light
Yeah,
a white candle. That's just me. And I'll put
yeah,
some theta music on, because theta puts your brain in a state of being able to do that creative and lucid dreaming or visualization. Um, and I write. I just quiet my mind and listen to the messages that they might be wanting to tell me.
interesting. He's saying, um, okay. Also, I see that my soul that goes out of my body is looking geometric, and he writes poems.
Good.
So yeah, you're already good at writing, so keep doing that,
Mhm.
and try and look for patterns in your writing, patterns of what you feel when you experience something. Look for patterns. As far as looking geometric, that could just be like you're not seeing things clearly. And
Mhm.
so you're coming in pixelated almost.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's like a pixelated look, but yeah, just try and focus inward, man. Find what's blocking you from seeing clearly. And
Also, just because it doesn't make sense now doesn't mean it won't make
yeah,
sense in a day or a month or a year.
yeah,
So always, things may not make sense to me when I'm doing a reading, and I'm like, I can't say that. That means I'm going into my ego.
yeah,
I have full trust and faith in my guides and the readers are my clients' guides to be able to tell everything.
yeah.
I'm not always happy what I have to say sometimes because it's like so far out there. I had one, and their mother had just passed a couple weeks before, and the mom she was great. She was awesome, but she kept showing me these pot leaves, and I'm like, God, I cannot say this because I have no idea if the kids even knew it. And it was like 3 times, like right in my face. I'm like, okay, fine. Did your mom possibly like pot? And she goes, oh my God, she loved the stuff. I'm like, would she wear a scarf with it on there? She goes, yeah. I'm like, okay. So see, I went into my ego because I thought, oh, I can't say this, but that's exactly what they needed to say to her child.
Yeah.
It's just kind of validation of, yeah, this is me.
Yeah. Who knows what they'll say.
We
Well,
never know.
I wanted to go back to Maya, who's been patiently
Okay.
waiting, all the way from New Zealand, and it's great to have some overseas friends coming on the show to
Absolutely.
check it out, and hopefully we'll see you next week too. So very cool. Thanks for watching. So for Maya, you were asking, what
Does she have a
beings or
picture? I see
spirits,
eyes.
what beings or spirits are with me. Um, just on an initial try here, feel like it's a grandmother.
Thank you.
But
That's
it's a,
what I was getting.
yeah, but I think it's gosh, she seems like just one with the earth. Like this person is so like organic to me, and was also a leader. This grandmother was a leader of, in the community, in her church, whatever. She was some sort of like, people would look to her a lot, and now people are going to start to look to Maya. If you're listening there, they're going to start to look to you. So take inspiration from her, and she's there if you need her. You
I feel
just
like
have to
her
focus on it.
grandfather. I feel like there's a grandfather there or a male there with her who kind of is in the background, like he lets her not run
Run.
the show, but
Mhm.
she's the one who's kind of the mover and shaker, and he's kind of the one who just quietly supports her.
Okay, sure.
So, and he may have been quiet, but he had I'm seeing it like a kind of a quirky personality, like a spark in his eye. When you're like, oh, was he joking or was he not? So, but she's surrounded with a lot of love, and I feel like she's got a pretty good connection to her guides. But what they're saying is she's I don't think she trusts. So Maya, I don't feel like you always trust when they're trying to get to you, when they're trying to talk to you. It's almost like, remember in Back to the Future, hello McFly, we're trying to talk to you. They're saying you need to be a little more trusting of that. I feel like she's a feeler, and when she goes into places, she has a very good comprehension of the energy around her. So if she goes in a place and she sees someone she doesn't like, or she'll feel that, and say, I don't really feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Go with your gut and really listen to your gut, because they're saying you're not quite embracing the gift.
And I keep wanting to say marmalade for some reason. I don't know.
Did grandma make marmalade maybe?
I don't know if that makes sense. I just keep wanting to say marmalade. um, they're alive. 8 kids. Woo! That's a big family. So
Or now, when we say grandparent, that could also mean great grandparents or grandparent like people. So when they appear to us, it's like as a grandparent.
yeah, I mean, it
Yes.
could be. I mean, they could be. She's coming in here. Both are alive, and we're close. She has 8 kids. Woo.
She would be a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
Did that make sense about what we were talking about? Just getting into your gift and trusting the messages and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm curious about.
Another person checking in here, Jessica. Thanks for watching.
Somebody said, how in the beginning did you not let fear get in the way of your gifts? I think the first time I saw a shadow person, I couldn't speak. But then you just kind of get used to it. And fear for me, when I was in hypnotherapy school, it was false evidence appearing real. So it's not really true. We're only born with 2 fears: loud noises and falling. So fear, man.
Is that a real thing? We're only 2 things that we're born. There's only 2 things we're born with.
So if you ever take a baby and you kind of drop them, you act like you're going to drop, they're startled, or if there's a loud noise, it's startling. That's only 2 fears we're born with.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. So the rest are kind of created,
learned through
That's
environment.
a whole other episode, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And I don't know, to answer your question, Christine, as well. I don't know that I had fear, or it didn't feel that way. It was more interesting to me. And the first time I saw a spirit in, I guess what you'd call a death state, that scared me a little bit because I didn't like seeing that. But otherwise, I was more of an interest for me, like to explore, like, what is going on? How does this work? How am I doing this? So it was more interesting. There wasn't as much fear, I guess, is the moral of my story. Now, I have been spooked out pretty good in places, not necessarily when I'm trying to do psychic work, but, yeah.
Trans-Allegheny was kind of spooky. That I would say would be spooky. Conjuring House was not. Lizzie Borden's was not. But Trans-Allegheny was or Old Montana State Prison. Those are probably the 2 that were the most
spooky.
Yeah, like I don't want to go in there. I'll go anywhere, but there's a couple of times.
Even if I can talk to him.
Yeah. You just felt the energy, like, don't. And I honor that. If you get that, don't, I'm honoring that.
And that for everybody out there, if you're an investigator, a medium, whatever, when you get that feeling, you should listen to it.
It's not going to end well.
We've all gotten it, right? And you just, I don't know, you just gotta power through it. And Maya was commenting back, sort of, but I remember not long I was confused because I thought she said I was too stupid. I was hearing a lot of things though. And that's in regards to, I think, to when you were talking about her guides and trying to communicate with her. And you just, if you're wanting to know your guides, if you're wanting to open that up, you got to put the time and have the right intent, like figure out why you want to do it, and then go from there. Jessica's saying retrograde ends tomorrow. My gift's been off.
Oh God, please, thank you. Anytime retrogrades in, it's like, oh, and they're all different.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a time to stop communicating and look within, which is why you're always like, God, are people being weird? What's going
Mhm,
on here? All these weird things happen.
mhm.
It's interesting. Um,
And
oh,
don't
and
and Maya, don't listen to naysayers. Um, if people say, "Oh, you can't be hearing that," that's exactly why most kids shut off the ability because we say, "Oh, you can't hear that. You can't hear that," and um, kind of shuts them down. Then they say, "Well, I can't hear that."
Mhm. Yeah. Let's see. Well, I don't know if we're gonna have time to get into this, and I don't really know about it, but Ward's asking, do you know about Rainbow Star Seed? I had visions and it took me to this subject. Never heard about it before. It was like the universe was sending it. Well, I agree with that. Um,
There's galactic. I've actually done hypnotherapy on a couple people who one's never been here. So one had an implant. I've had some interesting hypnosis sessions with, let's
Other
just say that.
things.
Yeah, other things. It's never
Wow.
done.
Yeah, interesting. And there is, you know, we can talk about ghosts and the human element and everything, but there's so much more out there.
Hmm.
I think you hear a lot that, we're dumb if we think we're the only life forms out there that are like us. Um, I think I just don't think that's possible. There has to be other life.
Well,
And if
and
there
you're
is,
starting,
there's their energy. There's,
yeah, and you're
everything's out there.
starting to see the government releasing things. My I
Right?
know someone who worked at Area 51, but they never spoke about it. So,
Yeah.
there's stuff out there, but now to find out about that kind of stuff, I hate to say Google, but there is a lot of good information out there. You just got
Mhm.
to filter through a lot of it too. And I always say, take what you know is truth and disregard the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. And, keep in mind we don't know much and anything's possible.
Hmm.
Keep that open mind.
Everything's in the gray. It's hard. There's no book on any of this.
Right, right. So, I wanted to kind of ask all the mediums that come on the show. We got a couple minutes left here.
Okay.
Um, how how did this start for you? Is it as far back as you can remember? Is it in your teens, in your 20s, 30s, whatever? Like, how did this journey start for you? And well, just start with that, I guess.
I mean, I just knew. I always knew I knew something, but I didn't know I was different.
Okay.
I remember going home and watching Sylvia Brown when she was on Northwest Afternoon because it fascinated me. And then I got older and I was watching Wheel of Fortune with my dad, and there'd be one letter and I could answer it, and he's like, "Maybe you should go on there. You just know." I've been banned from playing Clue with my kids because I know who did it before the game. Um, but I would go see like John Holland. He's a famous psychic medium who I really like, and I was at his show, and I was hearing the messages before he was saying it, and so I started tuning in and go, well, why am I doing this? Isn't everybody else doing it? And once I really started to grasp the concept of I'm, being able to connect to the other side and connect to other things, I just jumped in. And it's one of those things you kind of have to just jump in, and there is a right and a wrong, but there isn't, because it's completely up to your experience and
Yeah.
how it's customized for you. You
Yeah.
find out
Did
how it is.
you
Hmm?
Yeah, were you able to find a mentor along the way, and it was all you learned about it
Self-taught.
yourself? Wow,
Yeah.
school of hard knocks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Once I went into 100% faith with my ability and my guides, that's what cleared it for me. When I took myself out and said, I'm not owning this because it's not mine,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have faith in the messages, I always trust what comes through.
Right. And that's a challenge for
It is
all.
a challenge.
It's always
Because
a
everybody
challenge.
wants to know relationships or career. Career is easier because there's something called free will. And, I could say, well, you'll be with so-and-so in 6 months, but so-and-so may be with somebody else in 2 months, and that totally changes the trajectory. So, I mean, we can predict kind of, but there's free
Yeah.
will. There's free
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. I've only ever said a couple of predictions and readings, and so far they were validated. So
That's the
But
best when they
not-
call, they go like, did you remember that? No, I don't remember it, but okay, wait, yeah, I do remember it.
yeah, we can always get back there at some point, but gosh, oh my, we're out of time. Jeez,
Oh,
that
no.
goes by quick.
Yeah, it does.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, and
Oh, thank you.
thanks to everybody. We had so many new people on tonight. Thanks for commenting, and from all over the world too. I'm giving you a hearty hello and good energy from Washington State here in
Yeah.
the U.S. And thanks so much for watching, everybody, and hope to see you next week as well. For those overseas, I guess it's probably morning somewhere, so I hope you're enjoying coffee.
I think they're about
Ward.
8 hours ahead. About
Okay.
8 hours ahead, so
Okay.
they're
well,
really up early.
Drinking that coffee. Kristen says, great show. Thanks, Kristen. I appreciate you
Thanks.
watching. And Katie Brown, great friend of the show. There she is. She said, thank you for watching. Everybody out there, thanks so much. We're on WLTK-DB.com. Next week, I've got Oregon Ghost Conference Director Rocky Smith coming on the show. If you're going to the conference or want to learn about it, don't miss next week. Next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. I'm your host, Pete Orbea, and I have special guest Mackenna along with me tonight. So wishing everybody a wonderful week. And I still haven't come up with a new toast, but I promise I will. But for now, be present. Take a minute each day to be there where you are in that moment, not worrying about what happened yesterday, not thinking about what's happening next week. Be there in that moment. Hug the people you're with. Hug everybody else virtually if you have to. And we'll see you next week on the Paranormal Pete Show. Thanks, Mackenna. Have a
Bye.
great week,
Thanks.
everybody.
You too.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.